power nih dari Eko sendiri, Yuzong.
Oke, Sanford dengan Yuzong. Langsung ke belakangnya. Balik lagi ini masih sama. Pola permainan dari Eko, mereka suka menabrak dari belakang. Selama mereka bisa memisahkan tim fight-nya, mau depannya setebal apapun juga, ini pasti bisa tumbangkan kalau dikeroyok dengan 3-4 pemain.
Itu jelas. Dan ketika sudah adanya Kaja, mungkin ada satu hero lagi yang bisa bakal menjadi follow up-nya, namun Groknya diambil duluan. Kemarin sempat menggunakan Grok jungle juga dari Eko, dan itu mungkin menjadi satu perhatian lebih dari RRQ sendiri. Sekarang diambil dan ini enak banget, Groknya masih fleksibel.
Yes, Grok bisa di-XP di tangan dari R7. Ada Kaja. Bisa jatuh ke tangan
Kayaknya sih Yawi sih.
Kartisi bisa, Parsha juga masih terbuka kalau mau dikontes sekarang, tapi Harit.
Oke.
Diambil dan Haritnya di sini, ya ini flex lah ya. Memang mayoritas kita melihat 80-85% Harit main sebagai gold laner. Tapi tidak menutup juga bisa main sebagai mid laner.
Iya, Benny Cutie yang sebenarnya pool hero-nya juga cukup luas ya.
Betul.
Ngelihat Kari yang sudah tidak mau dilepas juga oleh Eko. Tentunya ini lebih respect karena kita ngelihat Kari dari Skylar tuh tadi gila banget sih di match pertama.
Ya, dan sebenarnya ya kalau untuk Kari, keduanya ini sama-sama power Kari. Jadi aku rasa yang second pick itu akan selalu ban Kari sih. Jadi jangan sampai Kari ada di game ini.
Ya, kecuali mereka punya jawaban untuk hari itu sendiri.
Ya,
yang kita tahu memang ada beberapa tim punya jawabannya, tapi jawabannya itu ada di Assassin. Dan Assassin rata-rata untuk mungkin dari M series yang ikutnya, ini mereka bisa ditarget Assassinnya dengan Hilda misal, atau bahkan dengan hero-hero yang langsung dive in ke purple buff-nya dia seperti Barat atau tank-tanknya macam Baxia.
Ya, tapi yang ngebuang Valentina tentunya dari sisi RRQ Hoshi gak mau sampai reward manipulation-nya di copy oleh IMU. Dan sepertinya Filipin gak suka banget sih ketemu sama Franco. Dari kemarin juga Blacklist ngebuang ke arah Franco. Eko, kita tahu dengan apalagi Finn juga ya. Ketika udah memainkan Franco-nya, ini Iron Hook yang bisa ngubah keadaan untuk RRQ Hoshi langsung dibuang oleh Eko Filipin.
Tapi gini, ketika ada 2 roamer di fase kedua yang dibuang, ini Groknya berarti dipaksa untuk di roamer ya Om, karena disempitin kan poolnya.
Ya benar, tapi Hilda masih ada juga ya sejauh ini.
Hilda masih open.
Betul, Hilda masih open.
Karena potensi Link ini bisa dipick juga oleh Kartuzi.
Betul, masih ada, dia bisa assassin sebenarnya. Tapi masih ditutup juga, masih belum terlihat sampai dengan sejauh ini.
Karena kalau ngelihat Sanford yang bakal jadi 1v1 situation di EXP lane, berarti RRQ Hoshi mereka perlu satu hero yang bisa nge-clear cepat dan Farsha. Kalau dari posisi Iko mereka memang ngebuang semua initiator untuk RRQ Hoshi mereka buang mid laner-nya.
Masih ada Xavier sebenarnya ya. Masih bisa dipakai.
Untuk long range-nya ya, dan wow,
Barat dulu.
ngambil Barats duluan. Barats kalau nggak ada kombinasi seperti hero heal atau support, masih tetap bisa atau enggak Om?
Bisa, kemarin terlihat sebenarnya ya. Karena Barat yang dipakai kalau memang di depannya dia bisa inisiasi di panjang team fight, itu bagus. Karena kalau seingatku kemarin, ada Baratnya, di depannya itu ada Kaja. Kajanya tarik, Xaviernya kasih Mystic Field. Jadi berantem dalam Mystic Field.
Oke, menarik banget ya. Dan sebenarnya ya untuk satu pick terakhir masih lumayan bisa difleksibelin juga sih sama teman-teman dari Eko sendiri ya. Dan kita melihat di mana 2 pick langsung nih untuk RRQ. Albert dengan jungle-nya. Apakah menggunakan fighter atau menggunakan assassin?
Sebenarnya ini pintar sih dari Eko. Mereka tahu kemungkinan Hilda bisa di-pick oleh RRQ Hoshi. Mereka nggak mau ambil assassin jalannya. Mereka lebih ke arah yang bisa nadia di depan dan tentunya Martis. Bersama dengan lapu-lapu. Berarti ini Grok yang akan berada di posisi roamer.
Ya ini pola permainan yang mungkin hampir sama ya. Dimana ada Barat, Yuzong, Kadita yang dipakai ternyata. Untuk satu bawah source burst damage.
Bukan Xavier ya?
Iya bukan Xavier. Jadi mereka langsung pengen instant. Mungkin ke arah Clay ya. Karena Clay yang paling bisa buat dicari.
Tapi menarik ya, memang Kadita sendiri ini bisa nge-counternya secara nggak langsung Om. Karena ketika real world manipulation, dia bebas banget nih untuk maju dengan nantinya rock wave-nya. Dan kita tahu lah damage dari Kadita sendiri. Kemungkinan Kaditanya bisa aja ditaruh di mid lane. Walaupun memang bisa fleksibel Kaja sama Kaditanya. Sistemnya mungkin lebih ke arah kayak 2 roamer mungkin ya.
Betul. 2 roamer yang memang bisa dipakai ya. Ada Kajanya. Let's see, mari kita berikan dukungan terbaik untuk tim Indonesia.
Betul, saat Indonesia, mari kita spam langsung di kolom komentar. Kita melihat semua dukungan yang sudah berada di area venue, lihat dan bahkan di Watch Party Outdoor. Halo Watch Party Outdoor.
Halo Outdoor.
Wow, rame banget tentunya. Semuanya udah siap mendukung tim dari RRQ Hoshi yang membawa nama harum Indonesia. So kita bakal melihat seperti apa untuk di game yang pertama. Mandalore Black and Final. Harapan untuk tim Indonesia RRQ Hoshi melawan Eko Filipin dengan draft seperti yang sudah kita lihat tentunya. Wow. Ini dia. Dukungan yang benar-benar luar biasa dan Albert dengan pick dari Martis yang dengan bisa dibilang mungkin imunnya ini ya.
Yap.
Yang bisa ngebantu dari segi team fight-nya. Apalagi ngincer ke arah backline dari pemain-pemain Eko nih. Menurut aku juga perlu diwaspadai untuk posisi dari seorang Benny Cutie.
Ya, dari Eko mereka langsung ngebersihin cepat ya di bagian tengah karena mereka ingin mobilitas, mereka ingin untuk mengganggu arah dari goalnya karena semakin cepat Matrix jadi semakin sakit nantinya untuk damage dari Skylar di early game.
Ya, dan Benny Cutie mesti memberikan pressure di area atasnya Skylar. Harus bermain agak sedikit lebih sabar karena ini babysitnya dibawakan oleh Finn. Di area atasnya Yawi belum bisa mendapatkan level 4 terlebih dahulu. Jadi sepertinya dari kedua belah tim akan sedikit bermain lebih pasif. Hanya memberikan top damage saja Clay. Harus menjaga sedikit tempo di area midnya supaya tidak terpick off.
Tapi sementara terlihat bahwa Clay-nya ini tinggal sendiri. Dan kini itu dia sibuk untuk membuka vision di bagian lain. Dan Sanford dengan Petrify-nya sudah ke bait. Tidak ada Petrify untuk gitar
Sudah
menit
mulai
kedua.
dipakai ya. Tapi setidaknya itu bakal ngusir aja sih pergerakan dari pemain-pemain RRQ Hoshi. Dan Valtizi udah mendapatkan pasif big guy-nya Yawi. Masih di level 2. Sementara kali ini dari Sanji pun tidak akan bermain terlalu agresif. 2 Petrify di tangan Eko Filipin. Ini yang harus diwaspadai karena RRQ mereka nggak bawa Purify sama sekali.
Benar, dan juga pastinya yang lebih membuat Eko bisa memberikan pressure adalah bagaimana mereka menekan. Ini agar Clay-nya nggak jalan kemana-mana, ditahan di mid lane sedemikian rupa.
Ya.
Jadi bantuan ke goldnya lebih tipis dan harus mengandalkan roamernya. Jadi untuk setup di turtle-nya bisa diambil oleh Eko nantinya.
Oke, sementara dari pemain-pemain RRQ sih mereka mau mencoba untuk melawan konten satu buah Flag Breaker form dari seorang Sanford tapi kalau Tizi berhasil untuk mendapatkan tapi ditukarkan dengan first blood. Main Phoenix masih dapatkan oleh Seven. Atau lebih tifatnya kali ini Petrify-nya connect dan Finn harus tumbang. Di tangan seorang Sanford ditukarkan Clay. Pertukaran 2 untuk 1 kali ini.
Wow.
Tim RRQ mereka kehilangan kesempatan untuk mendapatkan objektif turtle.
Cukup komit sih pergerakan dari Eko sendiri menurunkan 4 pemain di arah turtle tadi. Berhasil dapetin hasilnya maksimal namun kali ini top lane Zaman Force sudah ke-trigger juga dan flicker dari Skylar mau tidak mau harus dikeluarkan.
Ya, dan dari kedua, XP dan juga gold medal bagi RRQ Hoshi, mereka menggunakan Fury's Hammer mengincar untuk physical penetration.
What? Oh no, Yawi.
Ini emang ngeselin sih. Kaja tuh ngeselin dengan Ring of Honor-nya ke bawah.
Iya, dan itu kerugian yang mahal ya, terutama untuk jungle yang tercuri purple buff-nya yang kedua lagi. Dan kita tahu bagaimana di 5 menit awal ini jungle sangat bergantung dari Chris.
Ya, tapi mencoba untuk mendapatkan trade terlebih dahulu dari RRQ Hoshi. Mereka pressure kembali di area atasnya. Benny Cutie yang bakal coba di-press terlebih dahulu. Sementara R7 di area bawah mencoba untuk menahan Sanford dengan 1 buah Bravers Fighter. Dan ada statistik gimana Eko menjadi pemegang pertama untuk total turtle secure-nya ya. Bermain lebih objektif untuk Eko Filipin.
Banyak banget turtle isi 35 turtle ya dari sepanjang M4 itu angka yang tinggi banget. Dan kalau kita lihat di arah bottom lane Petrify bahkan dari Sanford di commit habis. R7 harus tumbang.
Burst damage yang begitu perih dari Eko. Tapi kali ini Albert mencoba untuk menahan. Di area bawahnya terlebih dahulu 1 buah Black Dragon Form di pop up. Untuk kabur terlebih dahulu dari seorang Sanford tidak mau mengambil resiko untuk team fight dengan Albert di area bawah.
Ya, dan mau gak mau di sini di gold lane Skylar ini harus dibabisin oleh Finn karena serangan yang dibangun. Ini lihat bagaimana Clay-nya gak bisa bantu sama sekali buat di atas karena dari minion tengahnya selalu di-clear cepat. Jadi mau gak mau dia stay di sana untuk dapetin XP dan juga level.
Ini mungkin rotasinya dari RKLC harus lebih gimana caranya memprioritaskan biar Skylar-nya dapetin space yang cukup banyak untuk farming. Karena Benny Cutie pun sadar akan hal tersebut. Mereka gak bawa marksman, mereka memang bawa Harit yang dimana late game juga perih banget dengan beberapa item magicalnya. Tapi tentunya kali ini Katizi dan Nonas Welcome dibuka. Dan bahkan, burst damage dari seorang Sanji. Melap dari belakang tapi total slain. Bain Phoenix berhasil diamankan tapi Yawi tumbang kali ini Albert. Berhasil dapetin double kill ke arah Katizi. 2 pemain hilang ditukarkan dengan 1 turtle objektif untuk Eko Filipin.
Wah ini dampak yang lumayan besar nih karena Eko butuh banget Yuzong ketika dia mau kontes ke arah turtle. Oke, turtle-nya masih bisa didapatkan namun ada 2 member juga yang ditumbangkan. Salah satunya adalah Kanzi. Yang ini penting banget, pattern jungle-nya akan sedikit terhambat walaupun Benny Cutie nggak tumbang. Dan untuk Skylar, menurutku selama dia nggak tumbang, nggak ada masalah di gold lane.
Oh benar, tapi Sengsen tadi ya, dia bisa diculik karena adanya Sanji juga. Sanji yang selalu hilang dari minimap dan kalau memang harus dibuka dari area-area rumputnya. Ini sangat-sangat mengandalkan Finn. Dan Finn juga, kalau dia buka, itu kalau ada si Kajanya, ada Divine Judgment yang siap buat narik Finn kapanpun juga.
Iya, Dan yang ngeselin ya, yang mengerikan dari Eko ini adalah dua Petrify yang tiba-tiba bisa datang.
Ya.
Dari seorang Sanford dan juga Sanji.
Ya dan kita lihat,
Sabar terlebih dahulu, Yawi. Benar-benar udah di-expect oleh seorang Skylar, tapi itu mahal banget. Dipaksa menggunakan satu buah flickernya untuk mundur daripada ke pick off oleh seorang Yawi.
Oh charge, harus mengejar ke arah Benikiti. Masih bisa selamat dan tadi defense adjustment-nya cooldown om. Bisa di-dodge dengan flicker.
Oke, bisa ternyata. Dan untuk tim fight seperti ini ya, tim fight jangka panjang, kalau PC dia sudah punya Radiant Armor. Dia sustain dan dia respect. Dia Radiant Armor, dia bukan lebih fokus untuk dapetin still light, misal atau bahkan dengan anti kuras untuk first itemnya. Karena dia tahu di early game yang bisa kasih damage reduction dia ini adalah play.
Iya, dan next objektifnya ini berada di atas. Jadi pemain-pemain dari Eko mereka akan main dari area sekitar mid menuju ke area atas, ke area river dari turtle objektif yang ketiga. Sementara RRQ mereka harus sudah mulai siap untuk menjawab inisiasi yang bisa aja dibuka oleh Eko Filipin.
Itu kan 3 member nih yang diturunkan ke arah gold lane. Mereka siap banget untuk fight. Tapi RRQ juga gak kalah siap, namun di bottom lane ternyata Rockwave lagi-lagi R7 yang menjadi korban.
Ngeselin banget combo Sanford dan juga Sanji. Berkali-kali kita lihat R7 menjadi korban kedua kalinya. Dan dengan adanya turtle yang sudah mulai di-poke kali ini, Yawi maju dengan satu buah dipanjas, namun Clay bakal coba ditabrak dengan seorang Sanford. Kali baik dari Rockwave di pop up. Alba mencoba untuk bertahan, tapi kali ini Sanji menahan dari area midnya. Sehingga membuat Eko Filipin mereka bisa mendapatkan turtle slain by Infinix untuk yang ketiga kalinya.
Oh no, harus reset terlebih dahulu. RRQ nggak boleh ngikutin ritme permainan yang sudah dibuat sama Eko sendiri. Sanji selalu berani untuk melakukan trapping. Ketika mereka turun ke arah bottom lane, dua Petrify pun ready untuk dikomit demi mendapatkan kill ke arah R7.
Ya, dan jalan Sanford ini selalu bisa masuk dari belakang juga. Langsung dia, timingnya dia masuk, itu selalu bisa memberikan impact besar untuk tim Eko.
Ini informasinya harus benar-benar pasti dari RRQ Hoshi karena R7 yang mungkin bisa jadi target bulan-bulanan dari Eko Filipin. Ini cukup bahaya, tapi Pin coba untuk wild charge maju mengusir pergerakan dari Sanford dan Skylar. Sepertinya harus bertukar lane terlebih dahulu karena sudah kehilangan turret juga tadi di area atasnya. Sehingga akan bermain lebih aman kali ini di area bawah. Tapi sudah melakukan rotasi terlebih dahulu, Lim. Tunggu siapa yang bisa diculik terlebih dahulu. Skylar sepertinya akan menjadi target tujuan. Satu buah Deadness Welcome. Berhasil ditahan terlebih dahulu oleh Kartizi. Menarik ke arah Skylar. Lihat Yawi mencoba untuk melakukan conceal. Tapi Skylar berhasil mundur dengan cukup selamat.
Wow, mereka nge-zoning doang sih tadi. Mereka mau outer turret yang ada di bottom lane. Dan sekarang sudah didapatkan. Vision yang dimiliki oleh Eko sendiri akan lebih luas nih. Tengahnya udah hancur dan invasi jungle mungkin aja dilakukan.
Ya, tapi itu adalah fast rotation yang dilakukan oleh Eko. Mereka standby di bawah di area dari Orange Bar.
Oke, tapi kalau Tizi tertangkap kali ini manipulation di pop up oleh seorang Clay. Sanji mulai datang dari area backline, ini satu buah burst dari seorang Sanji. Penuh banget Clay kali ini, sementara pemain-pemain dari Eko juga kehilangan Kartizi. Pertukaran 1 untuk 1 sejauh ini. Dari laningnya ini masih bisa dipegang oleh Eko Filipin dengan perbedaan network yang bisa kita bilang cukup jauh di menit ke-8 kali ini.
Ya, 4.500 gold difference dan Kartizi respect 4 physical damager, ada anti-curas di sana untuk next item setelah Radiant Armor. Dan misalnya untuk Haritnya dia udah menjadi full damage semua dari Kaditanya full damage dan Haritnya juga full damage, jadi bahaya banget ya. Dan kita tahu bagaimana untuk tim Eko, Kadita ini adalah hero yang selalu berada di dalam rumput. Jadi butuh banget yang namanya Athena Shield juga, misal di roamer dari RRQ Hoshi.
Ya, dan mereka nggak bisa sembarangan untuk nyebrang sih. Lihat posisi dari Eko Filipin, mereka udah diam, siap-siap untuk nyurik siapa yang bisa sembarangan lewat masuk ke area rivernya.
Dan kalau misalkan kita lihat dari ekonomi sekarang juga ini nggak bagus. RRQ nggak boleh terburu-buru. Dengan kalahnya sekitar 4.000 kurang lebih. Ini bisa banget nih nanti counter initiate ataupun bahkan Eko yang melakukan initiate terlebih dahulu. Pilihan yang terbaik adalah Skylar yang melakukan split push di bagian top lane. Ini udah pilihan terbaik untuk RRQ sekarang.
Ya, ini cukup jauh. RRQ sih mereka harus tahan dulu, mungkin coba paksain Eko Filipin untuk nge-cancel Lord yang sudah mulai dipok karena posisi Skylar jauh dan dikejar sama seorang Sanford di area atas. Benny Cutie ngebuka satu buah zaman force kali ini mengusir pergerakan pemain-pemain RRQ. Hoshi dan Kartizi masih dengan folklore-nya kali ini, sementara Yawi dipanjat punya connect. Karena seorang pindah tumbang kali ini, dua pemain dari tim Indonesia harus hilang begitu saja. Albert mencoba untuk menangkapkan di area depannya, satu buah reward manipulation dari seorang Clay Sanford. Ditahan di area depannya tapi dia terus welcome. Dari seorang Kartizi mencoba melakukan R7 dan Albert mencoba untuk bertahan tapi Sanford pun tidak tumbang. R7 terpaksa flicker mundur dan kali Sanji berhasil untuk menumbangkan R7 dan Albert. Tipis banget masih bisa survive. Namun namun harus menukarkan dengan satu buah Lord Slate by UBS Gold di tangan Eko Filipin.
Oke, memang dengan posisi yang tadi nggak enak banget untuk RRQ sendiri. Dimana Skylarnya udah tumbang di arah top lane. Terus Yuzongnya udah datang juga. Dan Albert udah nahan dari Asura Aura. Mortal Coil udah ditahan banget. Namun sayangnya dimajuin sama Yawi. Dan walaupun Defense Judgment dikeluarkan oleh Finn ke arah Finn tadi. Tapi itu belum cukup nih untuk membuat Albert bisa maju ke kontes ke arah Lordnya.
Ya, dan bahkan Sanford dia masih nge-regen lagi, nggak perlu untuk balik ya langsung ke belakang. Dan iya, RRQ Hoshi sekarang mereka harus bisa melakukan defensifnya dengan adanya varian yang dipakai oleh ngedelay setidaknya mungkin pergerakan dari pemain-pemain Eko untuk langsung menabrak. Karena ini masih Lord di bawah menit yang ke-12. Mungkin best start bisa hilang 1 lah atau 2 maksimal ya.
Ini R7 sama Clay lagi bikin ke arah Athena Silk ya. Sementara sejauh ini yang megang baru Finn aja. Dan Lord kali ini sudah mulai masuk ke area base di area bawah. Di atas dan Nanford mencoba untuk mencuri lagi Skylar. Yang terpisah dari kawanan pemain RRQ Hoshi kali ini. Harus hilang terlebih dahulu. 3 landing bakal coba dipusuk bersamaan oleh Eko Filipin. Dan Lordnya masih bisa ditahan Albert. Mencoba untuk menahan pergerakan pemain-pemain dari Eko Filipin di area atas. Dan tidak akan ada base turret yang pecah. Sementara Kaltizi bakal memotong jalan minion di area bawah. Sembari RRQ Hoshi mereka harus bermain lebih defensif. Sabar terlebih dahulu menunggu Skylar yang akan muncul dalam waktu 8 detik.
Ya lagi-lagi dengan Lord pertama pastinya nggak boleh terburu-buru. Namun konsil juga sudah digunakan barusan. Mau dipaksa, Eko Esport nggak mau mundur. Dia mau tetap melakukan pressure walaupun memang untuk mendapatkan satu best stars itu susah banget jujur.
Ya, apalagi dengan ya Lord yang belum punya charge ya, belum enhance. Jadi masih bakal bisa ditahan oleh RRQ Hoshi. Tapi ya mereka harus bayarkan dengan kehilangan seluruh inner bersama dengan outer turret dari RRQ Hoshi sendiri.
Ini gak ada yang instan bisa langsung narik juga sih dari
Benar.
RRQ Hoshi untuk ke arah pemain-pemain Eko.
Oh no, Yawi masih bisa mundur ternyata dengan dash-nya barusan.
Lihat Sanford.
Dan Sanford juga mengudara dengan Black Dragon Form namun tidak ada target yang optimal. Harus mundur kembali dari keduanya.
Itu lihat naga terbang ke atas, udah langsung mundur sih.
Ya, apalagi dari Sanfordnya dia udah di level 13, ya, 42 level sama dengan R7 dengan lapu-lapunya dan perbedaan dari gap levelnya, gap itemnya juga 6.700 gold difference dengan Kadita. Clock of Destiny ada Genius bersama dengan Divine Gloves. Sekali saja dia menggunakan Rock Wave ini bakal dalam banget untuk kira yang nggak punya defensive item, Athena Shield. Seperti ke arah Beatrix-nya atau bahkan untuk ke Yves-nya juga dari Clay.
Ya posisinya mungkin dari Skylar yang perlu dijaga sih. Karena 2 kali dia terpick off sendirian. Itu yang justru jadi makanan dari Eko Filipin.
Ya, mungkin satu kita notice adalah ketika ada yang jalan sendirian dari pemain RRQ Hoshi yang nyusul ke sana adalah Black Dragon Form. Karena dia punya tambahan movement speed dan juga dia bawa Petrify. Jadi solo kill memungkinkan untuk dilakukan kalau memang sendirian pemain dari RRQ Hoshi.
Ya efek sisinya cukup. Skylar cuma punya 1 buah flicker untuk mundur. Escape akan sampai Skylar ini terbatas gitu loh.
Iya dan kalau misalkan lihat defensif RRQ pun masih cukup kuat ya. Namun perbedaan gold nih yang semakin jauh lagi. Lord yang kedua udah spawn. Lordnya ini adalah Lord Enhance. Bisa nabrak. Ini bahaya banget untuk RRQ. Namun untuk kontes juga perlu setup yang cukup bagus.
Ya, mereka tapi Finn masuk dengan 1 buah wild charge. Bersama Flicker tadi tumbang. Kali ini 1 buah barrier mencoba untuk menahan pemain-pemain dari Eko. Dan Kartizi mencoba untuk mukul mundur pemain-pemain RRQ Hoshi kali ini. Ditunggu-tunggu Yawi. Ternyata sendirian saja di area rerumputannya. Dan langsung dipanis habis-habisan oleh seorang Skylar.
Oke.
for a bit so that he will not be materializing in front of him. Skylar is cracked.
Oh, they're going so far right now. With the momentum, Kaltizi getting a good kick onto Diggy so far, but here comes Black Dragon form to zone them up. Kaltizi is stuck. He's trapped. He's dead. And now the rest of the team is going to be hitting onto the inhibitor. The Lord is already down, but the real world manipulation looking to turn it around. Time journey to get his team out of there. RRQ have got what they want, and now they back off.
And now it's RRQ's time to play with this momentum in their favor, and they're doing exactly that. Wolf, what did this last couple minutes here transition? It's only 11 minutes into the game. How's it looking for RRQ?
Oh, definitely looking good for RRQ. This is their power spike, as we talked about. But then again, we also look at the other components of their composition. With the Divine Glaive available for the Eve, who opted to go for the penetration boots this time, Clay will be hurting a lot of Echo. Despite it, like, we're looking at the real-world manipulation, you don't really look at the damage that it outputs, but with all of the items that Clay was able to get, he is now going to be a threat. Look at that, though. Queen swings coming up from R7.
And at the same time, you know, as we get ready for this next pretty much push, or maybe it's the next Lord here, what does Echo have to do to get back into this game, Wolf? I mean, they're down to 5,000 gold. They've only got 2 turrets. RRQ owns their side of the map.
Well, they have to find a way to kick R7, or Skylar, I mean, into their favor. They have the damage on Benecutie already. They have the items that they needed. But the fact of the matter is they are not finding good jumps onto Skylar.
I don't think it's that easy as well. Like,
It's
a lot of
not.
it
It's
really just
not.
comes down to Kaltizi and Sanford. They're the only people who can really do it. And even Sanji, whatever he takes, he's going to get punished. Like, the Black Dragon form seems like a good idea, but considering how far ahead RRQ is right now, it's, disgusting.
The biggest thing that was just picked up here by Benecutie is that Wind of Nature. You mentioned it earlier, Gideon. It's a strong item, right? And that can actually turn the tide of these team fights if they're able to allow Benecutie to stay alive. Conceal play coming out, but they're just kind of scouting around here. They know that they don't have much vision. Wow. You can hear the roar, by the way.
Vince Diggy does have like Divine Glaive. And with just two time bombs, he's able to put Kaltizi down to 80% HP. That's a tank. This guy's the time bombs. They hurt.
They really hurt. It's
Look at
shocking.
that.
Wait, is this an engagement where you see? Oh, Sanford, he had an opportunity. Really good Guardian's Barrier, but no follow-up so far. Kaltizi trying to get into the Lord Pit right now as R7 begins it. And now RRQ, they secure the Lord, but now the fight has already begun. The Black Dragon form has to steal the real world manipulation there. Ton for Benecutie. Winds of Nature's ain't going to protect them long enough as the rest of RRQ chase them down. Finds 1, finds 2. It's Albert. 4 for nothing in favor of RRQ. Sanji, just hide. Don't show yourself. He's out of here. Skylar almost dying, torn apart. Memories hits. And Albert, he wants it. Give it to him. Give it to him, Sanji. 1 HP. He's not done. He heals back up just in time.
Man, Albert wanted that kill, man. He was going in deep, but still, it's a push from RRQ.
And now the real one manipulation is out to clear the way. Sanford tries his best. No, he gets pulled back. And now the Lord is in. Kaltizi tries his best, but Skylar puts the final nail in the coffin of this game. GG, well played. Over for RRQ.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a series. We got a series on our hands. It's 1-1. This time around, it's RRQ with a dominant game here against Echo.
And 2 important components on the winning recipe of RRQ Hoshi. First, Skylar's Brody with the Weapon Master opting to go for maximum damage, winning, or at least evening up in the laning stage and being activated in turtle number 2. The second important component, it's an egg.
It's an egg.
The digging was the problem this time. You see the time journey usage in the turtle number 2 allowed for them to just hold their ground and win the turtle fight. Eventually, in the latter portions in the mid-game, Divine Glaive and Enchanted Talisman with an Impure Rage digging, the Times Bomb. Or we call it the Bombs Bunny in the Philippines.
Yeah.
They hurt.
They do hurt. The bomb's money, and also he had Impure Rage, right?
That's right.
He's using that so he could just keep spamming them, basically, right? Whether it was for vision or damage, and it just whittled down Echo. and they really didn't have an opportunity to even get in line, right? And we were wondering too. Now the big question, and I can't wait to hear, what the analysts have to say, but this Yuzong pick, man, it is strong for whichever teams decide to take it.
That's
and also
right.
Brody actually having a great game here, this time for Skylar, working out really well for him, able to just kind of pop off exactly what they needed to do here. Check it out, right? That is going to be the celebration because strong game. It's payback time for the Kings as they secure game 2.
I think RRQ has really, kind of cleaned up their gameplay a little bit. Their laning phase is a little bit better. Everybody is kind of on the same page of what the plan was supposed to be. And overall, I would have imagined that, R7 was probably going to make those aggressive moves again. No, this time a little bit more reserved, a little bit more calm and collected. But this does show the beauty and, more importantly, just the power of a Petrify. Even if you're locking somebody down for at least 0.5 seconds, the rest of your team, and especially when Albert's jumping through, oh my goodness, you just lose track of him so fast.
Even the timing that you can see coming up from R7, he waited for those moments where the stolen time surge will not be of full effect already. They timed it so well, and this is because of the fact that they have so much farm already in the early stages. Additionally, you can see the times bomb, the bumps bunny usage coming out from Vin. It's more about like stopping the Grok as well as the Hilda, which is weird because they picked up the Hilda after they already saw the Diggy. We know that the Hilda wants to run around. And with all of those time bombs, it's difficult to find a footing around the territories that they wanted to control because they're poked heavily of that Divine Glaive Enchanted Talisman Diggy.
Yeah, it was basically too hard for even Echo to find space to work with across the map. I mean, that's kind of what happened here, to the point where at one point they didn't control anything, right? Everything was just RRQ, everything was in their favor, and it was tough to deal with. But before we have it broken down more, we got to mention the M4 pass once again. It's available now. Complete all active tasks, and you'll reach level 75 at ease and for free. Log in now. The exclusive rewards like the Beatrix Light Chaser, Beatrix Stellar Brilliance, and the M4 Beatrix figurine are awaiting all of you watching now. And don't forget the hashtags Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, hashtag MLBB-M4, hashtag Dare to Be Great. And lastly, but not least, the M4 Battle Night goes live this January 21. Expect loads of events and rewards for grabs in-game. First off, complete battle tasks in-game on January 21st to get a skin choice chest. You can choose the skin you like most from the chest, and aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. Play matches, and you'll get Team Star Protection for 3 matches, double Star Raising points, double Protection points, double EXP, and double BP for 5 matches. We're not stopping there. Free access to all heroes and loads of epic skins will also be available that very day. Save the date, log into the game on January 21st, enjoy the match and win tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate the M4 Championship together, including with our friends. And with that being said, I think we are going to be hearing from the analyst stand here on what they thought about this game. And I'm wondering, too, if they're really going to point out that Diggy pick because it caused a lot of havoc.
I think it will be a pivotal pick in game number 3, actually. Digging the Yuzong. I think that will be a little of shift into those two heroes come game number 3 because they really look strong in the previous game.
Well, let's find out. Analysts, take it away.
Wow. Didn't I notice a mood shift in the last game, ladies and gentlemen? From the 2 gentlemen who were sitting right next to me, and one looked really happy, and one was nodding the whole game. So, yeah, what's going on, Mirko?
Well, honestly, let's start with the drafts, right? The drafts was, honestly, in my opinion, what made RRQ win above, obviously, their execution that was pitch perfect too. Firstly, the Brody pick was so good, and the way they utilized the Brody pick is they understood the Brody carry matchup is a winning lane for the Brody, so they kept on going to the Brody lane, getting him ahead, and when Skylar gets ahead, you can see how much damage he was able to do, how much farm, and even how much of a beast he is, sieging turrets down on the Brody.
Absolutely, and I want to point out Brody's item, right? This guy has a attack speed item. Leo, I mean, I understand this is the game that you also were nodding the whole game you were analyzing. Tell us about the attack speed item on this Brody.
In addition to winning the lane, the fact that you can just let out those stacks so much faster, and the fact that Echo have layers upon layers of engage allows for Skylar to just deal so much damage to Echo's front line, which again was set up early on, right? They picked up the Cho in the first half, and then I don't know, we can only really imagine what was going on in the minds of Coach Treb and Coach Tick and the rest of the team, wherein they suddenly said, you know what, Yaoi, give it to Carl. pick up a Hilda, and then we'll go from there. We appreciate the effort, right? We appreciate the concept, but exactly what happened in this 14-minute game was Echo were trying to do 2 or 3 things before everything filled up for their side, and then RRQ were just saying, oh, you know what? Come in. That's how.
You know, when you're mentioning that, the cast are also talking about the Diggy pick, right? I think the Diggy and the Hilda love and hate relationship. Why don't you go ahead and talk to us more from the teamfight participation table?
Well, total assist, forgotten one, that's Vin, right? Everyone thinks Vin is like that flashy roamer, can go for those crazy flashy heroes to change the pace of the game, but hey, turns out he can be oh my Vin too, right? And this game he showed it with Skylar, Brody, and Vin. Funnily enough, Skylar is good friends with Oheb, right? And yesterday, guess what? Oheb played the Brody 2 up against Echo. So maybe taking a page out of Blacklist book there to get a dub here on Echo.
When you have a lineup that puts up a box as amazing as RRQ's, you have the real-world manipulation, you have the threat of R7 going into the back line, and then you have the Time's Journey that can at least push back 1 for sure, and then save the Brody. The Brody's having a great game. So I love how Albert here was just used as cleanup, and then again, it put Carl Tizzy in a weird spot wherein he has to do so much that the threat of the Karina being in any of the bushes nearby where Echo might be is just too much. And again, that's what made this game a clear win for RRQ.
Yeah, and I think RRQ is a team that's known to do their homework that we talked about in the last series. That Diggy pick was so good because it forced the challenge to the jungle, and it didn't seem to work out so well, right? Let's take a look at MVP. Gonna go to Albert on the Karina.
The baby alien strikes again, right? A lot of people were saying, this man's finished, this man can't red tree. Well, guess what? He proved the world again. 1-1 now up against Echo, one of the tournament favorites. Again, Albert, sure, in terms of flashy plays, he didn't make a lot of that, but he was consistent throughout the game. Becoming the front line, a solid front line for RRQ, setting up a whole lot of plays to be enabled for the side of RRQ, and guess what? Also acting, like you said, as a cleanup hero or a cleanup player in a lot of these fights that are going super long.
Yep, that last item I can only really guess might be a Thunder Belt, and this is exactly how you play Karina. 10 out of 10 times, I'm not even gonna give you that one, you build tank Karina. Mage Karina, just leave that for rank. Here in the pro scene, here at the world stage, you watch the way Albert played the Karina here in game number 2, and you see in the first 5 minutes, again, you need to farm up. You need to farm up, and then maybe once you have your tough boots, then you can try to engage, because really, as soon as you get those kills, and you weave in and out, and you get your farm in the first 5 minutes, you're up for a good start.
What we see from Albert here is the heat map, right? The rotation. He cleared the jungle, go to the objectives. Most importantly, he was a front line to get vision for the entire team. And he also, I think, even though he's building full tank, he was doing a lot of damage. You saw him getting first spot over there in that game. I mean, walk us through the highlights here, Mirko.
Just shows the base damage that Albert really has on the Karina, right? And this is what I want to really point out. In the heat map we saw it, we're going to see it here again. Albert, he rarely, or even, I guess we could kind of say never ganks. He's all around just farming, invading the enemy jungle, getting a lead for himself, and then transitioning it over towards that mid control so that they can control the neutral objective. On top of Skylar getting those sieges down, Yu Zhong being such a good weak side hero. On top of that, R7 is on that hero. He knows exactly how to utilize that, just like Sanford in game number 1, how to get out of these sticky situations, and in the end, that snowball of neutral objectives plus structure taken was able to get RRQ to a 6,000 gold lead.
And it's that 6,000 goalie that told the whole story of how, I'd say, layered Echo's approach was. For them to solve problems, they had to draw several lines throughout different situations. And in that last team fight, you saw how Sanji needed to get real-world manipulation, how they had to put Benicute in the right spot, and how Carl Tizzy needed to get the right kick. And again, that's 3 different things that have to be in the right place for Echo to get that even first Lord win. So now, going into game 3, what's Echo to do? Maybe keep it simple. Maybe if you have a plan for the first half, push through with it. Don't let the opponent control what you're gonna do next, because game 2 happens if that's what you do.
It's clearly that RRQ has a plan of their own as well. Ladies and gentlemen, to find out more in game 3, let's throw it back to the caster's desk.
Well, before broadcaster, we have here with Mara and Clara, we have RRQ Kingdom! Yay! They're so full of energy, they went wild after game number 2. Now, we pulled up some fans all the way to the top, brought them down here. Let us know your names. What's your name?
My name is Aldo.
My name is Teja.
My name is Maul.
Maol! Who is your favorite player and why? siapa player favorit? Kenapa?
Albert, karena dia satu-satu tuh dan walaupun retrinya agak bau,
Hey.
poin, tapi tetap on point.
He said that Albert is his favorite because of the retribution. It's on point even though it's Okay, how about you? Favorite player? Why? Siapa?
Karena dia jago.
Oh, Albert's again because he was great. He is great. Maul? Siapa Ul?
Lemon.
Lemon is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay, now Lemon and Albert and the rest of the team players can hear you right now. What do you want to say to them?
Ngomong
Yell it
apa sih,
out
Kak
loud.
RRQ?
They're watching you on
Ada
camera.
Albert, ada Lemon
What do
semuanya.
you want to say?
Viva! Viva!
Hey! He's the cheer captain, so he only can scream.
He can
Viva
scream.
RRQ. What do you want to say to Albert?
Mau ngomong apa sih ke Albert?
Bet?
Semoga sih membawa final untuk besok.
Albert, please go to the final tomorrow, Albert. Ada mau ngomong apa nggak?
I want to say to RRQ Hoshi, bawa piala M4 untuk Indonesia.
Please bring the trophy to Indonesia, RRQ Hoshi. Apa Ul?
Semoga RRQ harus bisa bawa pulang ke Indonesia, piala M4.
And again, he asked for
Kami
the
butuh M4.
trophy. We need M4. But you're the captain, and he was crying on MPL season 10. That's right. He's so emotional right now. But how you see RRQ right now in this state? What do you feel? Apa yang kamu rasain ngeliat RRQ sekarang ini? Kemarin kan abis nangis sampai terharu. Sekarang gimana perasaannya? Terharu kah atau ada yang lain?
Seneng sih harusnya, tapi kalau semoga bisa masuk final aja. Tetap konsisten. Untuk Bang Acil, semoga respect band.
What did he say? He said he wants to support RRQ now because past time he was crying and emotional, but right now he is happy. But he said, Acil, good luck. Respect ban. If you want to ban a player from the opposing team, we don't want that player. Who would that be? Who do you want out? Kepengen nge-ban playernya siapa sih kalau dari Eko bisa kita ban playernya ya? Ada nggak?
Gak usah lah, RRQ lebih jago.
Wow! No need to ban anyone from Echo because RRQ is way stronger. Now we want to see how strong you are with your cheer. You're going to lead and the entire stadium is going to cheer with you. Go ahead.
Viva!
Viva!
RRQ! Jaya, jaya, jaya!
All right, we gotta get this game started. Casters, let's get it gone.
Thank you very much to our host down there, and you can feel the passion, right? So welcome back to the desk. Again, I'm Nice, joined here with Gideon and Wolf, and man, do we have a series ahead of us. And I like that. You know, I don't completely understand Bahasa, right? I only know Makasi, but with what that was said there, we don't need to ban anybody. I already knew what he was basically saying, and that is just showing how confident they are in their team RRQ.
I think, you know, the fans here are passionate indeed, but this is going to be a very interesting game because, again, home turf, we're expecting RRQ fans to be with them. I can't imagine what Echo must be feeling with chants that are literally ringing through my earphones.
Yeah, you know, I was able to talk to some of the other Filipino players when they're in the hotel, when they're fighting against RRQ, particularly RRQ, right? And Onic, well, they're the Indonesian crowd. It really is, you know, mind-breaking to be in that spot. You're gonna have to condition yourself to not be affected to that. Surely if it's like game number 1 or the first few games that they faced the Indonesian teams, it was very difficult, but they kind of got used to it. So that's what Echo needs to do.
Well, here's what you guys need to do at home and watching right now. The M4 pass is available now. Complete all active tasks and you'll reach level 75 at ease and for free. Log in now, exclusive rewards like the Beatrix Light Chaser, Beatrix Stellar Brilliance, and M4 Beatrix figurine are awaiting all of you. Hashtag Mobile Legends Bang Bang, hashtag MLBB M4, and hashtag Dare to Be Great. And again, the M4 Battle Night goes live this January 21st. Expect loads of events and rewards for in-game grabs. First off, complete battle tasks in-game on January 21st to get a skin choice chest. You can choose the skin you like the most. And aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. play matches and you'll get the Team Star protection for 3 matches, double star raising points, double protection points, double EXP, and a double BP for 5 matches. We're not stopping there. Free access to all heroes and loads of epic skins will also be available the same day. Save the date, log into the game on January 21st, enjoy the match and win tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate the M4 Championship together, including with your friends. Whew, I hope none of you guys missed that at home. You've heard it for what? Many multiple days now. I am catching up. I know we all are. But let's catch back up to this series. Right now, 1-1 in the series. Things are very crucial. Tensions are high. And I got to ask you, Wolf, initially, too, draft-wise, right? We were talking about it a little bit earlier. The Yuzhong pick. Is it going to be prioritized? How devastating that Diggy pick was. I think he had, what, 14 assists? I mean, we're taking a look at the hero recap here. How's it looking, Wolf?
Well, you know, Benicuti's carry was supposed to be unbeatable. We know that it has a very high win rate. It was now taken out by RRQ just because of Skylar's Brody. Well, let's talk about the lane match of these two heroes, right? In the laning stages, both heroes can get away, but it seems like Skylar with the Brody can have a little bit more advantage, especially if there's an additional hero, which is now the Diggy. When we compare the playstyle of Echo and RRQ, we know that both teams want to prioritize their heroes, but it seems like RRQ are only successful on making Skylar a great marksman, a gold laner, if they have another hero, a babysitter. That time, it was the Diggy. So maybe that could be the thing, game number 3.
I'm on differing opinion here. I feel like Echo was playing a little bit more scared than usual because when you see a Diggy, you expect Hilda to go right up in his face, just beat him down and start building up as fast as possible and keep on with that harassment, not necessarily into the lane, but taking out, making sure that Diggy is going to be falling further and further behind, making everybody else's job so much easier. It's like, yeah, you're going to pull me back, but I'm just going to kill you.
I think that's a great point. And at the same time, you know, Diggy is a strong hero pick for a reason. It's simply annoying, right? I mean, you're dealing with all those bombs in the bushes. You're playing Hilda. You're trying to get vision. You're also trying to regenerate in the bushes. But at the same time, you're dying in the bush, right? So, you know, it doesn't really work out for you. And also, the other thing is Sanji just struggled, really, because what ultimates, again, do you take for the best situation when you have 3 great options ahead of you? So, I mean, with all those thoughts here in place, we're going to be jumping into the draft here for game number 3. It's Echo on the blue, RRQ on the red. Bans, very similar here, and right away, snapped up like that. There's the carry in the hands of Benny. He wants to give it another go.
Efusion, it's...
We've seen this before.
We've seen this before. Same, all right. Oh, so it's Farsa instead. Okay. They want to make sure that there is no way for... there is always a way for them to tag the backliners. Diggy is still open for RRQ Hoshi. That might be of a consideration right now. But what I like about both Lapu Lapu and Farsa is that no matter what marksman there is for RRQ Hoshi, they have ways to reach the backlines, either through gap closing with the Lapu Lapu and a one-shot potential, or through a Farsa. Combine them together, no marksman is safe.
This is going to be an interesting one because, again, this adjustment by making sure that you yourself have an artillery mage means that Sanji, even though he's going to be quote-unquote slower to get into the right position, the extra range that he gets from the feathered airstrike could make the difference if we see RRQ locking in something like Diggy. But instead, they're going to go for the Beatrix this time around. They're prioritizing having lane control rather than lane dominance.
One thing, too, about Sanji specifically as a player, we know that he loves to pull off those crazy plays with the flicker, right? So with him having this Farsa in his hand, you're going to expect that too. Whereas still, even when you lock in this Eve here, you want to be able to build upon the utility mindset for this match, right? You want to be able to do that. But again, you're complementing it with the Yuzhong pick, which we have said in this series specifically, or even throughout the tournament, it's been crucial for a lot of these teams' success.
Yeah, and honestly, if we're talking about success, we have to talk about supports because, again, nobody has revealed their supports and they've just mirrored each other the entire way. I was thinking maybe Karina might get picked up early, or just maybe some foreshadowing, but Echo, immediately take it off. I'm expecting another assassin. There could be a chance that even Lolita might get banned off inside of Echo once more, so it denies R2 a way to disengage from fights.
Or maybe a Martis as well, because those are the heroes that Albert really like to play. You kind of want to have a sustained hero here if you're RRQ Hoshi. Surely the Yuzhong will be eventually tanky, but you're gonna have to have a frontline so that both Eve as well as the Beatrix will have great positioning. That's also the reason why they ban out the Cho here, because they don't want Yaoi to have a hero that can go to the backlines. There's the Barrett's ban. are we looking for a Ling pick for RRQ?
Yo, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that RRQ are telling, yo, Kartizi, show up. You have a skin around you. We want an assassin.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the quote here, and that might be the story, right? Carl Teasy, I think we're the best team. I'm a team player right now, so I don't care about the stats or MVP. I've been there. He's been there, he's done that, right? Carl Teasy on the best jungler for M4. So even though that's the case, oh, good solid last ban, by the way. Ziggy's taken out. There's
Just
the
the
Grok.
I mean,
Conked in.
Come on, Echo. Give it to him. Give it to your boy.
so it's Atlas to go with, okay, are we seeing like Hayabusa or Ling this time? Coming up from Echo.
You come on. I'm so excited here. I can't wait to see Kartizi on an assassin. He showed up big time. He's been there, like the quote says, during M2.
Yeah.
If he locks in Lancelot here and wins this game on his own skin, that is just, beautiful. Ow.
It's the Akai. Oh, no. Okay.
Well, he's kind of like a ninja, right? I mean, a guy, depending on what lore story or skin you lock in, right? So they lock it in. On the other side, though, Albert will be picking up the Hayabusa.
And it's, once again, it's the Dragon Warrior against Tai Lung once more. I mean, it's frustrating to see because I really wanted to see Kartizi bring it to RRQ in the assassin department against Albert of all people. But yeah, as the board says, he's such a team player.
Yeah, I know. He did. He transitioned into that.
That on that point, right? That's what makes these teams so scary is because you've had either. A lot of the times it was the junglers carrying teams, right? But teams that either play for their jungler or their jungler plays for their team, that's a big thing here. So this is kind of a different, I guess, for a lot of people that have been following Carl Teasy specifically, they might want him to play assassins, but if this is what he feels like is the best for Echo's success, then that's what's gonna be played, right? So, but is it gonna be able to compare against Albert in the jungle on the Hayabusa? We've seen amazing things before, but let's load up into game number 3. It's 1-1 in the series. Who edges ahead here?
Oh man, if you're looking at the choice of Albert, right, going for Hayabusa, surely it's great. Like, we're excited to see that. We want to see Albert being activated as assassin, but man, Atlas, Akai, Lapu Lapu, man, it's difficult to play a squishy hero if you're RRQ Hoshi. There's so much control and so much damage that can come out from those heroes.
Not only that, Wolf, but with an Atlas across view, when do you usually see no purifies from the other team?
Yeah,
That could be deadly.
That is a big observation here. Vin already getting stunned up. I'm surprised that Vin doesn't flicker it out just yet, but yes, there we go. He gets out of the tough situation. And, you know, coming back to that Atlas, I think we've seen many, many times, and in a couple of international competitions last year, that Atlas has really turned over some games in the later stages.
Yeah, definitely. And this time you have what? Heavy spin as well as the Fatal Links. You can like switch between the two of what you will use as your first in when it comes to your initiation, right? What do you use first? You can use like heavy spin first so that the Atlas will have a better ultimate afterwards, or maybe use it afterwards. So the Echo composition is really backing on the damage output of both Farsa and Bandicuity, and they have the tools to make that work.
Well, I think on top of that, you know, if you are playing this Atlas, if Clay can find the death box positioning in the right moment at the right time, then you can use that to your advantage, right? You are now forcing Echo wherever they decide to respond and set up with the Fatal Links, then hey, you can go ahead and set up that box and hopefully profit off of that, especially with Grok here for Vin, right? We've seen it before, it can happen, but right now they've got to kind of check those boxes, and with the first turtle of the game coming up, Yaoi's not level 4 yet, so you're going to see this kind of unfold here.
Yep, Furious dive coming in from R7. He's right on top of Kartizi, forcing him to use his ultimate as soon as possible. And even Sanji really high up there with the Feather Ash. Kartizi all by himself in R7 will find first blood. And here comes Yaoi getting into the middle of it, finds 3. But Sanji, he gets 1 already. Vin is so low, but they cannot get it. And now R7 with a double kill in the bag.
Great exchange from both teams. Echo starting with Sanford poking the Hayabusa, putting him low, forcing the quad shadow. But then again, Echo was forced to utilize Carl TZ's ultimate far too early. The reset was there for RRQ, and then of course damage coming up from Clay's ultimate afterwards. Fortunately for Echo, they have Yaoi's ultimate available there. He got level 4 just in time to pop the flicker and the fatal links onto 3 members of RRQ. Then Sanji dealing the damage. In the end though, RRQ still gets the turtle.
Wait, does he know? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you saw Yaoi actually walk between brush to brush here, but he's going to open it up, sees Vin, backs away. Skylar, once again, just needs to maintain control, but Benny QT has been doing such a good job. He's looking for the trade, and now he might get the solo kill. Almost secures it. One more auto attack would have procced and would have gotten the kill.
Great response from Skylar there, not to go down. They don't want to give that advantage to either of these gold laners, right? They're going to be battling it out here. And we know, again, how scary carry can be, especially if you get those kills. But Yaoi, going to be the focus, gets out of here just fine. Still, again, RRQ holding on to a very minuscule gold lead. But, I mean, objectively, they're where they want to be, right?
Yeah.
Continue this up, farm up, and just keep responding, putting pressure around the map.
Skylar not flickering right at the get-go, it allowed him to also force the flicker onto Benikudi. And the reason why he felt very tanky up until the end is because of the fact that the outer turret energy shields in the gold lane provide 30% damage reduction. And Skylar forcing another flicker and not dying kind of means that the bottom lane is still equalized.
I'm more surprised you weren't freaking out that Sanji was about to die there. He gets, I mean, overall, Albert is putting quite a bit of pressure, and I would argue is even opening up a map to open up the map to a certain degree. But let's see down bot side, 2-1, the shields are getting farmed out for the time being, but Echo, as we mentioned before, just wants to focus on the farm.
Yeah, I'm still wondering too, you know, the fact that there is no purifies here for RRQ. If they're just going to completely rely on their reaction time, right, to get out of danger or to have that, basically, I like to call it the athletic flicker out of those bad areas, right? Because, yes, if Yaoi holds on to it,
Oh, wait, Zephyr! He actually flies clean. He's going to get this kill, but no, the real one manipulation gives him a shield. He ends up dying regardless. Feathered airstrike. Now putting R7 out of this fight. Black Dragon Form in the middle of it. Is he really willing to play with death? Shaw Residue already propped with Sanji Fuka's form, but the backline now in trouble. Cartiz ends up dying. One shadow into the shadow kill by Albert. He's still alive. Vin, what can he do? Forced to flicker out of there. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Echo.
Oh man, Echo. That was against Sanford opening up the backlines. Previously, in the first turtle fight, it was against Albert, but this time it was against Clay. Even after the flicker coming out from Clay, we know the one-shot potential coming out from the Lapu Lapu to take out the Eve. Eventually, the follow-up from Yaoi allowed for Echo to win the battle afterwards. Unfortunately, though, Albert was still very good with the retribution.
All right, let's pull this back for a moment here because I'm trying to figure out where Echo is going to eventually plan their attack on their map. It feels like they're playing defensive, right? Yaoi's opened up the map, but then how does Cartiz make this play?
Well, I guess that what they are waiting for is to at least equalize when it comes to the turtle fight, then activate Benikudi. So to answer your question, later on, around 8 minutes time, when you can have Benikudi deal the damage with 3 items, that is where you strike. Until this point, Echo, everybody's just buying time.
I'm holding you to that 8 minutes on the dot.
Yeah, we'll see if Wolf predicts that correctly, right? And the curse doesn't affect him here. But still, going back to the point, I mean, if Benikudi can just farm up, great thing, right? That's exactly what he wants to do. Him and Skylar, same scenario, right? None of them have gone down. You see, though, how much of time is actually put on the gold lane for both these teams. You guys mentioned this in the draft. If you can have someone babysit the lane, great. Now, it's a little bit different because Diggy's not constantly there. But still, even Yaoi's paying attention to that lane, trying to give any upper hand possible to their gold laner is the best thing that could happen for both of these teams because even, yes, there's what, 200 gold there. It really doesn't mean much for RRQ, but they have the objectives, right? If they can get this next turtle in about, what, 10 seconds, then that's great for Albert and the squad can transition into the Lord takes and really set themselves up for success here. Echo, though, knowing all of that, Sanji having 2 kills early on, the burst damage is going to be there. So as long as RRQ can avoid that burst coming out from Echo, Sanford with the setups like this.
Oh, I mean, Sanford, he wants it, but the fact is he's got no ult now, and now Albert might have a free kill in his hands. He's walking up Black Dragon form as well. Wall charge doesn't connect, but there we go. Albert secures it. R7 now in some trouble. Smartese pushes him out of position, and now in a 2v1, R7's lead is just enough, but on the bottom side, almost soul kill. Skylar's baiting him into it, and now Albert is going to secure the kill. Oh, he got it. Now that's just disrespectful. Skylar was just being disrespectful. You put respect on Benny's name.
Skylar, I would have really commended what he did because he baited Benny in there. The TPs were uncalled for though. Because
you want a TP?
Yeah, there wasn't any escape anymore. Unfortunately, Skylar, that's 100. He already did 100 level play, but then he went down because of those TPs. However, though, I want to say, RRQ Hoshi, great understanding of how to take turtle number 3. What they did was to stay in the bottom bush, in a right side bush in the middle, I mean. And then it was only R7 who showed himself to Sanford. After Sanford already committed the bravest fighter onto the Yuzhong, that's when they strike.
Oh, Kaltisi in some trouble now. Skylar, he lands it. Oh, he's so low, but he's still alive. Sanford with the bravest warrior already in the middle of it. He has to get on out there. Saji's trying to help him out, but Yaoi might be able to find 2. No, only 2. As real one manipulation comes off, they get the kill onto Skylar once again, but they traded kill back, so that's going to be support for Gold Laner.
That's a good trade right here, but still a lot of unfolded there, a lot of ultimates and resources expended, but still RRQ holding on to a little bit of lead. 1.6k. Wolf, how's it looking in terms of items?
Okay, so we're looking at Skylar just picking up all the important items like Blade of Desire eventually into his second damage item, but he needs a Wind of Nature. Now that's also true with this Benny QT carry. So far, we know that they wanted to activate it at 8 minutes, right? So they did. Yaoi was able to find an opening to the backlines. And that is one thing that RRQ should be respecting.
Oh, again, and it looks like a repeat of history, but Yaoi this time doesn't even go for that engage, and it feels like to me that Skylar is a little desperate after his little mishap down on the bottom side.
Yeah, he wants the kill there. He did pick up the Malefic Roar, so that damage is going to be there even more so now. You know, even though he's got the 2 assists, he wants those kills because he does know as well that Benny QT is going to be scaling up, especially past this game.
Oh no, Clay, he gets pulled back, but it really doesn't matter. He flickers on backwards as R7 is there to cover his back. Nicely done. The teamwork from RRQ to deny the initial engage.
Great teamwork coming up for RRQ, like I said. And this means that they might have the better control of the first Lord of the game. What are they doing right now? What they should be doing right now is to control the lanes first before they engage onto the first Lord dance. So they're using Skylar up to the top lane, bottom lane already pushed out. Mid lane should be answered by R7 or maybe Clay in here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to how RRQ is going to control this Lord.
Well, let's see how they're going to, because bot side is already stacked up with a full wave. That tier 2 might be in some trouble, and RRQ don't mind leaving this be. Orange buff being taken away by Hayabusa, but the rest of Echo, how are they responding to it? Tier 2 is already down. They can still let this bleed even more, but now they're going to force the issue. Sanford's walking back into the fight. Conceal coming out from Vin. He's going to take the long way around. Yaoi is looking for an opportunity. Albert might be in some trouble. Quad Shadow's out of there, but on the opposite side, here we go. R7 jumping into the middle of that fight. Bravest Warrior forcing Sanford out, but now he flippers right on top of Clay. He's down. Benny QT's in trouble. Skylar might have to take the 1v1. The Quad Shadow's already down, and the Shadow kill isn't enough. Albert still alive, trying to get on out there, but Sanford's chasing him down. Yuzhong is dead, and that's going to be a 3-for-nothing trade in favor of Echo.
And even the Lord belongs to Echo. What a great play from their side. RRQ Hoshi, they tried to go for the conceal play from the bottom. They wanted to tag Sanford. Unfortunately, that left both Clay and Skylar exposed to Yaoi. Yaoi didn't find the first jump, however. As you saw, RRQ, they still managed to get away from there, but their position was already compromised. Albert was too far when the Lord was put on to low. And you see Echo, despite losing the first 3 turtles, just control the Lord that's much better than they did. RRQ.
Not only that, but I mean, even that team fight, you saw how much pressure there was from Echo that Skylar actually didn't have the opportunity to get in the positioning he wanted to. He had the defensive flicker out, and now they're dealing with this siege coming out from Echo. They still have the Lord also on the bottom side to work with. They're going to lose more turrets here and have to be forced to pretty much defend in their base. Conceal play comes out, just getting a check here. But the big thing for RRQ, they do have Clay. their defense, their high ground defense should be pretty good, at least to this point. It's only 12 minutes in the game. Lord is even at half health here. So let's see how this one plays out.
Yep, Finn already using his conceal. He's
Now
in
he
the
has
middle of
Flicker.
everybody. Oh, well, let's see. He finds one. And now the Feather Airstrike in combination. Petrify onto BennyQT. R7 trying his best. He's in the middle of the fight, but nobody can support him. Albert finds one. Cartesi is dead. And now they're looking for a second as they find the Bravest Warrior next. And now with it all, Albert still lands it. But it's no! He hits that! Skylar! Absolute monster, snipes it from halfway underneath the inhibitor turret.
That deserves the Dave sheesh, because he has been waiting for that moment in this game. Skylar finally gets it,
Okay.
and that's a massive successful defense from RRQ.
This word doesn't exist, but I'm gonna use it. So many sheeshable moments out there. As you saw Yaoi with a jump, right? We saw this as Flicker, but look at that combination of Clay and Vin. Guardian's Barrier with a diamond-shaped box. And then eventually Skylar just sniping BennyQT. My goodness.
That was clean.
That's the word. Sheeshable.
Good lord, Scott. Oh man. I don't know, these Beatrix players are disgustingly good. Well, a little too good for my taste here. I want to go back to some of that basic stuff. I feel bad about myself now.
Well, I mean, at this point, they've turned it around. RRQ, they had to defend the high ground. They did. Yes, they lost a couple turrets, but they profited off of it, right? I mean, they have that defense. They get a couple members of Echo down, and now you can see that, right? With that swing, that pendulum swing, momentum in their favor, they just have to be cautious with the setups from Yaoi. That's the biggest thing here. The next Lord is going to be up. RRQ is in a good position to actually take this one, and Echo knows it.
How about that? There's Sanji and Yaoi up top. Through a bush, you have to be careful about this, and RQ doesn't have vision of that. Skylar already utilizing this this Renner. Just make sure that they scout out additional members. And I think that RQ has a little bit of the same idea. They want to control the outside bushes, like the Lord Dance. Look at them. The Lord only has 2 heroes, and everybody's just dispersed.
Look at that. They're waiting for that conceal play. They got BennyQT there on the top side. Carl TZ still going to bounce this Lord around here, keeping everyone, RRQ on the hunt. They're trying to figure out where the other members are. Lord half health, here comes the conceal.
Yep, Yaoi's coming in. R7's already looking to engage Clay once again. Is this a repeat of history? No. They back off. And now the real one manipulation. Wall charge as well. Already hitting 2. Falling into Rena's apathy. It's all over now. As now they try to jump in. Zephyr turns around, finds Skylar as well as Finn. They push through. Benny finds it again. Taking out Clay. A triple kill. Absolutely shredding through them. But now they're chasing them down. How many can they find? Echo is looking for some as much value as possible, but R7 tries to turn it around, but it doesn't matter. BennyQT hasn't even used his Winds of Nature and flickers for it. 4 for 2 so far.
BennyQT, the hurricane of Echo. You saw how it was activated in that fight. They utilized Yaoi as well as Sanji from topside with a concealed play, and it's almost a repeat of history. But then again, after Clay already utilized his ultimate, and then Albert is no longer a threat to the carry. That's when he was able to rise to the occasion. He found 3 members of RRQ, and the Lord Dance was perfect from Echo, especially because Call TC won the Retribution battle against Albert. My God, that was the disaster for RRQ Hoshi because of BennyQT's calamity.
Not only that, but the fact that they waited patiently for the conceal play, and now it's again RRQ on the defense.
Yep, Cartesi's in trouble here. Oh no, Clay's in trouble. He can't do much about it. He doesn't have any of his battle. Now he finds it, and now they have a double kill. Zephyr cleans it up. They're going to be ending this. Echo takes game number 3. GG. Well played.
Benny gets his eyes on the crystal, and he doesn't hold back. He goes right for it. Bring it, Echo. To 2-1 in the series. It's match point.
Oh, what a game this is.
What a game.
It's such back and forth.
Yeah.
Like RRQ break even, then Echo break even, and then Echo finally put the killing blow in.
It's a tug of war at that point, right? Everybody's holding on and equally giving the same amount of strike. But Echo found the opening, and once they found out RRQ's kick in the armor, when RRQ just let go of a little bit of the grip, they found the win in the tug of war.
Tug of war it be, but RRQ was in good position until that last play we saw unfold, the conceal, we knew what was happening. Benny Cutie made his way up there, and then they just waited. And Yaoi even a little off timing with that fatal links, but still Benny Cutie able to survive without even popping the Winds of Nature for the majority of that fight until what? Maybe he had 3-4 kills already. That is, I mean, that comes down to that micro decision in terms of team fight. No one got a hand on Benny, and you gotta contain the storm, man.
Somebody's got to contain the storm, but I'm more curious about that final interaction right at the very end there. Clay just so out of position.
right.
Why? I guess, yes, there are a lot of threats, but you shouldn't be that far out of your base to begin with.
Well, what you wanted to do, if you're RRQ Hoshi, you want to get to the backline so that you will be able to attack Benny Cutie, but Echo kind of played it differently. They didn't allow that to happen. And what happens if most of your initiators just go into the enemy backlines, right? What happens is that you leave your backlines open because there's no one to peel for both Clay and Skylar. And that's exactly what happened. With the crafty plays coming from Echo, they forced RRQ Hoshi to have a bad formation in the backlines that exposed Clay and allowed Benny Cutie to do the reverse.
Honestly, when people are looking at the VODs for this game, just take note of Echo's pathing across the map, the way that they use their conceals. They're coming up with some really interesting flank angles, which didn't feel very, well, impactful at first, but then you saw the benefit of it and how out of position RRQ, especially at that particular angle towards the top side Lord Pit, nicely done.
They do this often. I mean, this is something that Echo is known for, and teams have to be weary of because they're going to do it again, right? But before we have that game broken down by the boys on the analyst stand, we do have to mention TikTok Live Carnival, the Cheer Up for M4. Watch M4 matches on TikTok. Participate in Cheer Up for M4 activities by watching M4 matches on TikTok and using M4 exclusive customized gifts to cheer for the teams. There will be a chance to be on TV and win abundant gifts. So don't forget to join that. And there's even outside of the venue, if you guys are watching here, there's basically a carnival outside.
Yeah.
So we are going to be throwing this over to our analysts to have them break it down further. I'm sure they have a lot to say. Guys, take it away.
Whoa, we have a series in our hand. Let's first talk about the R7 play, though. He was just on the Akai. I mean, what's going on? R7 versus Sanford. I think that's the key focus of last game.
Yeah, let's talk about R7 first, right? Because him and Sanford were... No, for real. Him and Sanford were absolutely amazing, right? Enabling his team so much, but this time, Sanford actually got a matchup that he's comfortable with. And guess what? We're gonna take a look at the item builds here to really dissect the item builds this time around because the game was so close. Game 1 was dominant for Echo. Game 2 was then dominant for RRQ. And now, finally get a close game.
Heart of game 3 here has a little bit of deja vu elements of it because again, yeah, there is that R7 versus Sanford matchup, and going into the last half of this draft, I kind of read into it and said, you know what, maybe R7 might be overloaded. Maybe he has to start finding Benny and Sanji, and then there might be some analysis paralysis there. And now looking at the way that these two built, obviously, the whole game, my eyes were on Skylar, right? He had like several solid shots, one very specific that took out Benny Cutie. And I can't help but think, did they need more time?
To get to the power spike?
Yeah.
I think they do, right? But funnily enough, you were looking at Skylar, I was actually looking at Sanji, so we're looking at the opposite teams here. But Sanji, the way he played the Farsa was a different Farsa. He wasn't just a damage-dealing poke Farsa, but it's also kind of a distraction. Because, funnily enough, he actually wants R7 and Albert to engage on him, even Vin here, because he has the Winter Truncheon, he has the Flicker to get out of that, and he's baiting so many of the resources for Benny QT to really pop off in these team fights.
Miracle, I have a question. For the entire set of RRQ here, not a single person has Purified, even knowing with Alice and Akai. Can you walk us through the reasoning behind that?
That's deja vu, right?
Deja vu to game number 1. Honestly, right here, it feels like both teams didn't go for Purifies, right? Even though RRQ had Petrifies, had a Grok as well. Echo had a lot of CC, but why? Why did both teams not want to go for Purify? I think it is, again, how both of the teams can make those micro decisions to win the game or lose the game. They can pull it off, we can't.
And also Eve, he was using his ultimate as Purified. A few times he was just using the ultimate at the right time to dodge the Fatal Link, and I think that's really, really good play coming out from Clay. So let's break down the team fight participation here. Who do you think is the star on each team?
I'm guessing for Echo, when it came down to that last few moments where in Echo we're trying to go for that major lead, Kaltizi just weathered through the early game, right? He wasn't as strong as Albert in cleaning up, because I think that's what you were talking about, Mirko. The fact that there were these fights that RRQ Hoshi had no business staying in, but just were in too deep, and they just needed to finish the job, and indeed they did. But when it mattered, I'm looking at maybe the 9 to 10 minute mark, when Carl TZ was just saying, you know what, I'm gonna heavy spin here, I'm gonna take these major objectives, you guys do the rest. I think that's the turning point for the game 3.
because through the mid game, it seemed like R7, it seemed like Win and Albert had a really good synergy. You know, like they were going in at the same time, they were finding those engages and finding those objectives. But through the late game, it's just not going to be enough. So let's take a look at MVP. It's going to be Sanford 4-1-13 on the Lapu.
Speaking of Sanford, right, again, this man, I mean, take a look at the item builds here. He knows exactly what to go for. He knows that his healing, his sustainability is gonna win him the game. And in these team fights, especially against a Beatrix, a Yves as well, it's these drawn out team fights. He understands the assignment completely, the Oracle, plus the Bloodlust, and even the Queen's Wings to add more sustainability. And on top of that, he cancels out a lot of the regen coming in from the enemy team, the healing. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Purify as well. Why do both teams hate the Purify so much? We're not seeing it. It's because of the laning, right? You can see with Benny bringing the Flicker, that adds so much to his laning, and especially in terms of chasing the Beatrix, Skylar can't afford to go for the Purify because he's gonna get battered in lane.
Yep, and in the case of Sanford, you'll see several times in this game that he used that Flicker to reposition to get the tail end, or at least a majority of the AoE of his skills, specifically his ult, the Bravest Fighter, to make major impact. Do basically maybe 50-60% of what that team fight wanted to go for in Echo's favor. And here in the 5 to 10 minute range, you see that this is the part where Echo wasn't really dominating yet, where they weren't winning clearly. That's why he needed to hunker down and anchor into his XP lane and then eventually translate into these big team fights.
I love the Lapu pick on Sanford because it's similar to like a Benedetta pick, a hero that can carry the game too. You deal a lot of damage on top of just the utility and the initiation that you have.
And this Lapu was on the Albert the entire game, right? Like he was making sure Albert wasn't able to do much. Here we go, let's take a look at this first turtle fight here, second turtle fight here, even though Haya got it, but look at Lapu position. He was doing a lot of damage in the middle of everything.
And I think there was a key decision that Echo made, right? Yeah, you look at Sanford. They weren't actively looking for the Hayabusa. They weren't looking for Albert because that's a lost cause. See, yeah, he's gonna be low, but you know that Sanford's gonna find him anyways because of the amount of damage in CC you have on that hero. So again, here at the 15-minute mark, it's clear that RRQ got split up because of, again, a small advantage in positioning that Echo have, which now puts them at match point.
I gotta give it to Benny though, massive shout out. Even though Sanford was the MVP here in the end, Benny did so much, and the way he's positioning himself isn't like a normal gold laner. He actually is gonna be, he's comfortable flickering forward, playing in front, but he spaces himself out from the enemy team so well. He knows the range and he knows how much resources are available on the enemy team to pull that off.
But can we talk about Skylar's snipe? You know, that one beautiful snipe over there. We were all jump out of our seat. I think you jumped and you touched the ceiling pretty much.
It broke my head.
Yeah. But to get to know more about the next game, we're gonna have a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna quickly throw it back to the caster's desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that breakdown of Game 3. Again, if you're just joining us, it's me, Naisu, Gideon, and Wolf, and we are now at match point for Echo here. RRQ's gonna refine exactly what they've taken from these past few games, learn from that process, and hopefully extend this series to 5 games.
You know the even Yu Zhong combo that RRQ Hoshi running out game number 3? It really looks like one of those meta picks, right? It's looking very strong as a combo, but it's not working, unfortunately. There's one thing that maybe they should change come draft number 3. Maybe give up, maybe take something else. Maybe, take it the Eve for Clay because he plays it well, but give R7 a more macro-intensive hero.
A macro-intensive hero?
Yeah. Like a Benedetta, perhaps, or a Glue even, but Glue will be automatically, I think, Joy
I
as
think
well.
it's going to be banned.
So something like a...
biggest thing for me?
Like Benedetta, perhaps.
That's the thing. I was thinking about whether or not Benedetta might have been the option in this upcoming game here, especially for R7 overall. But it can be a little tough. I think at the end of the day, it really came down to whether Sanford was able to, make that big play when he has that flicker, and it's something that they have to be worried of. RRQ, I think when they hunker down and really start focusing on who they want to take out, they can absolutely do that, but then the remaining pieces seem to be able to pick themselves back up and actually turn that trade even and even break even more. just three, just so many ways to actually go above and beyond.
I think, I mean, I agree with you guys, but I think one of the biggest things here is, and you talked about this at the end of the game for Game 3, was conscious positioning, right? Mirko highlighted this on the analyst stand of the positioning of Benny, and that's really what it comes down to in terms of those team fights and everything, is constantly being aware where you're positioned. We talked about how, you know, that last defense, you didn't have to be outside of your base. You know, you didn't have to be in that position. You had a better chance of staying behind those turrets, artillerying from there, the high ground, and hoping to stay in that game. And rather, it just kind of broke loose. It went through that, the armor chink, like what what Wolf mentioned here.
It
now,
was the opening.
I mean, let's look at this, Wolf. The hero pick recap from the previous game and how this breaks down.
We highlight the Lapu-Lapu from Sanford as well as the Hayabusa from Albert, right? In Sanford, okay, I always go back to the first two engagement, two turtles for Echo. So what they did was to utilize Sanford to kind of poke Albert in turtle number 1 and then poke Clay in turtle number 2. On both occasions, it was successful. But that was just the intro of what Sanford is able to do in the succeeding neutral objective fights. The second and the first Lord went in favor of Echo because of how Sanford was able to tag Clay, or maybe force Albert to utilize the quad shadow too early for his condition.
I mean, it's just, you gotta treat it like a punching bag, right? You know, Sanford just has to keep applying pressure, keep putting, be a kill threat in not only in the lane, but in those team fights to make sure that RRQ Hoshi is utilizing some form of resources, dropping something on him just to get away.
Refresh my memory here. The 2 times that I think Vin played Grok, they lost, right? Is that correct? So maybe that key to victory, if it ain't broke, pick Grok isn't the way they want to go, right? Maybe it's better if even they allow Vin to be on a pick that is not just so reliant on that wild charge, right? Because what we're seeing is, even if he gets it off, Echo works around that so well. They know what to expect when that Grok is locked in for Vin. So put him on something else. I'm not saying Diggy, right? Diggy did work, but I feel like in an extended series, Diggy only works so often, right? It kind of has to be that surprise factor. Now, you could do something better by allowing Vin to, I don't even know if he wants to pick up the Franco, right? But even we saw the Atlas in the previous game from Yaoi, allow Vin to not just rely on that wild charge, because usually when those don't land the way you want to them, or even if the Guardian's barrier is misplaced, it puts you at a disadvantage. So I'd love to see how this draft unfolds here, specifically for RRQ, and what they've learned up to this point as we get ready for Game 4.
All right, then let's jump right into it. Let's hesitate no longer. And knowing these two teams, they're going to be really fast on this. The Kaja, the Eve already banned out, the Joy, as well as the Wanwan banned out for the side of Echo. But this time we are seeing that RRQ have decided to be on the blue side. So let's see what that first pick is going to be. I'm expecting Eve or Carry. We'll see what Echo wants to leave up.
They don't ban out the glue. I think we see RRQ take glue
100%.
right away.
And that means that Echo might be considering banning out that carry this time. Or if they give it up, they now have better trades. Because when you pick up the carry on RRQ's side, you can get the glue on Echo's side. So that's a better trade for Echo. Then again, they better carry. So you go glue this time for RRQ Hoshi. Or do you pick up the ground?
I feel like even though glue is good, we've seen Echo whip out the Dire off a couple of times.
Farsa Grok, I think, is the opening here.
Farsa Grok? Okay, they got the Farsa. Let's see if this next one is going to be the Grok.
Well, what else do you answer the glue with, right? There's I do agree with you. The Tyroth is actually going to be a good pick. I think they are going to pick it their third pick, because there's a big chance that RRQ Hoshi will just ban it out in the second phase. So maybe that's the last pick of the first phase for Echo. For now, they're really thinking about the Grok. I do want to say though, the team that holds the Grok in this series loses the game. So that's
what you're going to say.
Yeah,
you're going to stick by that too.
Stats don't lie though. Games 1 and 3, that's RRQ, and game number 2, that's Echo.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see the overall stats for Grok. But hey, you know, Lapu-Lapu actually getting locked in here. I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because Sanford is really amazing with it. Knowing that RRQ Hoshi kind of they play the game like they wanted to always peel for their backliners. That's how Clay and Skylar was successful for RRQ Hoshi. Lapu-Lapu counters that too, so that's maybe the idea here for Echo.
Usually in that matchup too, the Glue Lapu-Lapu matchup, I would say more often than not, I've seen Glues get that first blood, and still, that is a very simple step for RRQ to get that momentum they need, because we've seen I mean, the glue in the hands here of R7, causing havoc in the back line, especially if he gets that early momentum going. That's a great step to success here and taking us to Game 5. And now with the next 2 picks, look at that. They are going to go with a more proactive roam option. Like we were saying, they're going to lock in the Franco here, and it's complemented with this Faramis pick.
Okay. I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong about this. Cho, thoughts on this, Wolf?
Cho could be good for Echo just because of the fact that it's a flex pick. So you give Vin a hero that he excels with, his counterpart, Yaoi, will get their own pick, but instead they go Claude.
Interesting direction that Echo has decided to take it. Instead of looking to mirror RRQ, this time they're going to be playing for their own gold lane, and I think a lot of resources are going to be dedicated, making sure that Sanford is almost guaranteed to be on the weak side. A little sad to say the least, but I feel like Sanford has kind of proven himself 1v2, arguably 1v4 sometimes.
Yeah, I agree, and at the same time, I'm wondering, are they going to okay, there is the Beatrix ban, so really limiting the options here for Skylar.
Exactly, and you're looking for like a combo with the Franco, right? Hitting the Franco hooks, they're amazing. You're getting damage still. Faramis will not be giving that to you. Maybe a few patches back, that will be the case. For now, both Brody and Beatrix would have been good in combination with this pick. So I wonder with how RRQ is going to supplement the initiations coming up from the Franco. Echo, however, they still have the Dyroth. If they want to pick it up, they can give it to maybe Carl TZ, but knowing that the Lapu Lapu is already picked up, it tells me maybe Echo will choose a different hero this time to answer the glue.
Oh, I suppose, but the fact that they banned out Barad, I don't know. It feels like the headspace of RRQ is, hey, Carl TZ is still going to be the problem. We need to make sure that we can secure our objectives, and maybe we can snowball out of control from there. But as of yet, I mean, mid lane still very open for RRQ, and if we come back in towards Echo's side, they can easily lock their jungler right now. I don't know if they want to show their support this time.
It's the Cho.
It's the Cho? All right.
Well, comfort for both of your roamers. Now RQ, they badly need early game damage here. Surely you got already good heroes in your comfort picks. You need to give Albert a hero that can supplement the damage, and then of course Skylar with some early game damage as well to kind of pierce through the early stages, so that they will not suffer from lack of damage in your stages, like many teams suffer from.
You need that follow-up with the Franco hooks, but still, I mean, even the Cho is flexed technically. We don't know if it's actually going in the hands of Yaoi or if it's going to be placed in the jungle again for Carl TZ, right? So they're still leaving that mystery here. Look at that. We're getting an advanced look, right? That's the Irithyll along with the Karina locked in here. Now, Irithyll doesn't have the best win rate. That is 14%. But still, how does this work, Wolf, with what they've drafted so far?
They're all in on early game team fights. They're all in the mid game. With this decision, RRQ is saying, we are gambling. We're putting our tournament on the line in the first 10 minutes of the game. If we don't end it as soon as possible, they will not be able to force the series to game number 5.
Any last thoughts here, Gideon?
Honestly, I'm sweating because I agree with Wolf. This is a bit of a gamble. I will say that Echo's overall draft is looking good. You can feel that Yaoi is feeling it. As long as he blocks a couple of good hooks, it's kind of up to Vin, and hopefully he still doesn't have PTSD from M3, so we'll see how this is going to go.
Biggest thing here is, like you guys mentioned, that timer, right? 10 minutes here. At the same time, this is Cho in the hands of Yaoi. We've seen incredible playmaking potential from that alone. And with Carl TZ picking up the Akai in the jungle, he's going to be just focusing on objectives. This could very well be the last chance here for RRQ. It's match point for Echo as we jump into Game 4.
Irithyll wins the laning matchup for sure. I mean, you want to... It is...
We didn't get to see whether the hook landed or not. Did he get the hook or not?
I don't know. We know for sure, though, that in the laning stages, RRQ Hoshi does have the advantage. Because of the fact that they have Irithyll winning against the Claude, it just naturally, and the glue, of course, it's almost unbeatable in the laning stages. If they piggyback on that idea, like destroy Echo's timing with their early game spike, maybe RRQ has a chance to extend the game number 5.
Echo knows it.
Yeah, I mean, R7, there's nothing he can do. He's going to lose his battle spell here regardless, and arguably, I would say he's about to die as well. And there we go. R7 just greeting out to hit that level 2, ends up dying for it.
That's not how you want to start the game here for RRQ. I mean, you mentioned it, Gideon baited into it, and still, I mean, at that point, you have Sanford, who again got the MVP previous game, same hero, now has an upper hand, but the kill going over to Sanji on this same hero, Farsa, is going to be deadly, but Benny Cutie.
Yep, Vin, he wants to land it. Oh, the hook doesn't connect. Benny Cutie is able to just sidestep it in that time. The dive fails, they back away, and now the level 4s are rolling in.
R7 didn't respect the fact that Sanji rocks a flicker this time. That's why he was taken out. And minor mistakes coming up from RRQ. It's going to be... So, I guess the word that you use here is compound interest, right? That's what we are. Have to take note if you're RRQ.
Yeah, now look at this situation, right? Because of that death, that does mean that R7 is not going to hit his level 4 in time. The early proxy is going to make sure that they have priority, and now that if they can get mid to push, that would be ideal. But let's see how the situation plays out, as now RRQ trying to get some kind of information, as Albert now being threatened by Sanford. He might actually die here. Albert's still alive. Glue ends up dying again. How did R7 die on the top side of the map? Sanji is able to pick him off.
Talk about Sanford and Sanji, the San duo, just making waves here for Echo. 2 minutes into the game, and this is a tough situation for RRQ already. I mean, yes, the gold lead isn't massive, but these minor decisions, these plays across the map are going to cause waves throughout the game.
Man, Sanford's maneuver, after winning the top lane just because of the help of Sanji, he's able to get level 4 before the turtle fight, for the first turtle of the game. That allowed him to invade the purple buff and make a, put some influence, put some pressure in the laning stage of RRQ Hoshi.
Oh, and that's called TZ getting picked off immediately. Echo. Oh, wait. Oh, so very close, but here comes the Feather Airstrike. Flickering forward, he's guessing. Skylar is still alive. This could be a potential dive. Yaoi, he wants it, he finds it, and gets the kick. Benny QT almost finishes him off. Yaoi takes the kill, unfortunately. Vin finds the iron hook. Clay pulls him back, kicking back and forward, and Albert will secure the kill.
You see that? You can't get away, Yaoi. We've got 2 pulls. He tries to run away, but also the highlight there is that Albert was able to pick up that kill. Big pickup here, Wolf.
So you saw that they were able to take out Carl TZ after what would likely be a snag coming out from Vin. Eventually, though, the dive, flicker in coming out from Sanji, forced Skylar to be very low, and then Yaoi found the opening under the turret. Good thing, though, for RRQ, they have found some trades with Albert getting 2 kills.
Yep, and now they're going to be walking up. Echo looking to invade Albert, but they don't want to commit too much in this situation. Now, let's talk about the lane states, right? Because Vin, he's trying to make something happen. Oh, Clay, good Purify. Doesn't get kicked out of position.
Well, it's a good thing they have that. You were talking about the lane matchups here. I mean, this one specifically, Sanford's going to have the upper hand here. As we're seeing, I mean, R7's got to kind of make his way back from that deficit now in the early game. Again, Wolf, you called 10 minutes here, and it might turn out to be even less than that. But still, turtle up, RRQ in position.
And now Feathered Airstrike already being used super early on. They're just holding them hostage. They know that Sanford is ready to jump into the fight. Yaoi finds the initial engagement onto Albert. He's in trouble, but Sanford in the back line making a tough Cartesi. Locks Albert down. He's finally dead, but now the rest of the team is here. R7 with the reinforcements. Yaoi might be in some trouble, but finally it's going to be Sanford who ends up dying. R7 is able to secure his own kill onto Yaoi, and Benny QT is on the run. Skylar doesn't want to be a part of this fight, but the Bound Mirror image is going to juke them out.
Wow, what a move coming out from Benny QT, getting out of there. And even the fact that he threatened for a kill onto 3 of the members of RRQ Hoshi. It all started with a snack though.
Well, he's going to get pulled back. The Feathered Airstrike should be able... Oh, actually, there we go. Magic Worship going to do the last tick of damage.
Yeah, that burn does hurt, right? Able to secure the kill there of Sanji. That's 3 kills now for him. Going to profit off that, build in. Let's take a look at the items, how this is playing out here, Wolf.
So at least a little bit of an advantage for the Karina, but with all the casual items like the Dreadnought Armor and the Molten Essence, there's no full item yet for the Karina. That's why they're not yet able to actually teamfight with that. And then, of course, Irithel, you need more items here. Windtalker, eventually the second item will allow him to dish out the damage already. So that's the power spike that you're looking for RQ. Benny QT though, with 0 deaths and 2 assists, and the Avarice is now in a very comfortable spot. DHS, eventually Golden Staff. you can imagine his farming speed to go off the roofs when he gets that second item.
Okay, let's talk about, okay.
Whoa, Yawi! Oh, he almost finds the angle of the kick, but Skylar is able to get out of position in time, locked down with the Bloody Hunt. Yawi might be in some trouble here, but Call TZ looking locked down. Skylar, the Feather Airstrike is coming down through, but the Call Altar keeps him alive until he's gone. Benny QT now, with all the green lights, comes in, and it's pretty much done for the side of RRQ. They cannot survive this kind of aggression. What an execution from Echo.
Absolutely good chain of events for Echo as they utilize their lineup into its full potential. Yawi with the flicker, going in forward first. Surely, he missed the way of the dragon, but that allowed Echo to get into position. Then goes Kautizi.
Oh no. Albert, he's in so much trouble, but he should be tanky enough to actually survive all the damage. It's getting close, and here comes Sanji. If he sees him, he might be dead with a Feather Airstrike, but on the top side, Call TZ all left all by himself, sacrificing his life for hire as Albert on his way to secure this turtle. What a move from RRQ!
Oh, wow. What a punish, indeed. You saw that there was a lot of focus in the bottom lane. They found Vin!
He's gone. He's gone. Nothing to say about that. Well played. Great punish from Vin.
RRQ picking up wins where they can, and it also looks like a little miscommunication from Echo too. Yawi has the vision here, but still RRQ finding now it's the two turtles they've got a little bit of gold lead. They just have to figure out this Sanji problem. If they can get that, shut him down, that's going to be another big play for RRQ.
He's going to walk up. They don't realize that he's there because of the conceal. He throws up. Ooh, the hawk.
R7 though.
R7, he's pushing them out of position, but they're working as a team. This could be the turnaround now, but Call TZ can't seem to find the angle just yet. They're going to focus on their jungle and back away.
Every bit is intense in this game because you're watching Vin. Maybe he lands a hook out of nowhere, right? We're all watching.
Bloody Hunt onto Call TZ already started off, but Yawi's looking for an angle as Sanford jumps into the back. Nobody can stop Sanji with his Feathered Airstrike except for the Call Altar. Skylar running for a slide battle mirror. Image takes it back. Sanford now left to die. Yawi can't help him out. Sanford is able to hop on over with the help of Sanji. R7 still on that chase. He's sick of it, but Yawi is able to stop the aggression.
I can't believe no one died from that exchange.
Like how?
So much back and forth and just masterful disengage from both teams there. But still, RQ holding on to this lead. They can play around with it, right? Still, if they can focus Sanji, if they can get a Bloody Hunt or a hook on him, they're going to profit massively, Wolf.
There was a lot of explosions in there, and he's surprised that nobody died. Bloody Hunt onto Kautizi, a prime target. You want to go onto it, but he survived afterwards. Then Benny QT finds up BMI after the fact that the Paramis ultimate was already down. Kill threat onto Earthump, but wasn't able to find it as well.
Oh, Yawi's looking for an angle, but again, Vinda doesn't punish him just yet, knowing that he has the Shunpo. However, the mid lane, we do see Sanford. He's getting himself out of there. Again, the aggression pushed back.
This match is electric. This particular game, everything is so close.
It's
You can
so
feel
high
it.
stakes.
The tension, not just in the stadium, but in the game as well. Now this Lord being worked on here, half health.
Oh, he hits Call TZ, and now Sanford has to save it. Feathered Airstrike as well, but R7 gets into the backline, forcing it out. They got Irothel. Sanford has done it. He's dealt the damage, and now RRQ are on the run. R7 is still in the middle of it, but a double kill coming in from Sanford is more than enough. Call TZ is trying his best with a Hurricane Dance. He's trying to push it, but he's getting that spin. It's too late. Benny QT in the middle of it gets 3 already. Sanford, a triple kill all by himself.
Maniac make it, and now Albert the Focus gonna be able to survive, but his team is taken care of.
Sanford literally destroyed RQ in there. The zone out with the combo. This is why they first picked this Lapu Lapu. He won his laning stage. He was able to pressure Albert, and then in the most important team fight for Echo, the first Lord of the game, he was able to tag Albert, take him out with the bravest fighter, the combo, then gets a double. The kick from Yawi allowed Echo to take that Lord despite Kautizi being grabbed by that glue. The kick from Yawi displaced Albert, and this is a massive victory for Echo.
Right now, still Lord going to be on the bottom side. They're going to continue to get these turrets across the map, opening it up for themselves. Now they have the lead of 2K here. And at first I thought, Sanford was going to say, hey, Sanji, you can get the MVP this game, but now they're competing for it. RRQ has to have an answer for this.
Yawi, he finds the kick onto Vin. They want to take one by one. And unfortunately for Vin, there's nothing he can do about it. Nicely played by Echo. Good bait from Sanford as the outer turrets will fall, and Echo will slowly creep their way in towards those inhibitor turrets. No big ultimates as of yet. RRQ can actually defend this relatively well here, unless Skylar gets picked off. Cartesi gets pulled back, but he's too tanky to actually be punished for now. Albert, he's walking very close to the fire, but again, 1-0, all outer turrets are destroyed.
All right, so RRQ still in this game. It's 4K ahead for Echo, though. The time is up that you mentioned, Wolf. You said 10 minutes. I think Gideon agreed.
Yeah.
We're now at almost the 12-minute mark here. Is there any saving grace in terms of items or even macro play that RRQ can do to turn this game around here, Wolf?
Well, they can, well, it's just really the hook coming out from Vin if they find an opening, right? And I think that they are focusing on Cartesi so much. Surely it's great in the first few minutes of the game. Yeah, they can take out the Akai, but I think that it came to a point where when you go on to Cartesi, there's a lot of like supports coming out from Echo. And when you try to take attack hero, you put a lot of resources into taking out Cartesi.
Did he just flicker?
Eventually get out damage.
Look,
and,
let's just move on from that. We're just gonna let's look at Cartesi, man. He's looking good. He's looking good. Let's pretend that didn't happen.
As you were saying.
Yeah, you were back to what you were saying. 85 seconds on Vin's flicker. Yeah, that was totally there for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
All Wolf can say is, yeah, wow. All right. Goes back to the game. Yeah. Yes, that is a detrimental for this Lord fight. It's going to be up now in about 6 seconds here. Echo, great positioning as they get set up. You're going to have to keep an eye as well on Yawi. He's going to be looking for the right target. Skylar having a very tough game on this Irithyll, even with that sprint. Clay trying to get some vision. And it's the same setup that we saw in the previous game, but this time it's just Yawi in that topside rush. They're just waiting. Can RRQ do this?
They're just waiting for this fight. I mean, Echo is baiting it out. They're going to reset topside. Yawi finds the kick on to Skylar once again. Call Altar. It's not going to be enough, but they have a spin. Will lock down Vin once more. It's just timed out, and now Clay is just left all by himself. Left in the hands of Benny QT with 2 down. That's a free Lord.
Yeah, we finding a big opening onto Skylar. I wonder how he got that, but RRQ wanted to bait out the Lord and Echo just styling on them. It really looked easy for Yawi to do it.
I mean, that's just, at that point, you know, the positioning of Yawi there, he knew that the best angle for Skylar to come from was that top side because you can just pop that sprint and kind of run around, hopefully to find a member of Echo, but it just didn't work out for them. Yawi sniffed it out. He knew exactly where to be, and they focused on Skylar. And again, this begs the question, is Irithyll the weak link here in this lineup for RRQ, Wolf?
In the latter portions, I would say yes. You understand why they picked it up. It makes a lot of sense when they did, but they weren't moving as if they wanted Irithyll to be successful.
Well, let's find out here at the very end as the inhibitors will fall. Feathered airstrike already down. Echo is going to take as much as possible. However, the mid as well as the top side have not collapsed at the same time. R7 is doing a very good job at keeping it alive, having a bit of a pillow fight with Cartesi. Nobody really winning there as the mid lane now clash, but Yawi, does he find the angle? He finds the kick onto Vin. They're trying to collapse on it. The Bravest Warrior is already in, but Skylar slows them down with the Queen's Call. Heavy spin activated with the call. Altar the backline being attacked. Albert as well, trying his best. Feathered airstrike comes back off a cooldown, but he gets stunned up. He has to move away. Top side is already destroyed, and a 4v5 has been already down. Falls into the favor of Echo. Benny QT not even participating in this entire sequence of events, and this could be a potential kill if they find the CC. Oh, Cartesi, you're just teasing Yawi, trying to go for it. Again, gets a kick onto Albert, and now the Blazing Duet activated. He's still alive. Queen's Call trying to clear those waves as soon as possible. Sanford, deal with the Bravest Warrior again. We're seeing 3 ultimates. One Sanji now in trouble. Has to use the wings by wings to get on out of there. The Bravest Warrior is down. No more Sanford, and the defense complete.
You can't imagine to be the Skylar. Surely he died at the end, right? But it's difficult to play this Irithyll. Fed by Yawi, fed by Sanford, fed by Cartesi. Everybody targets Skylar. Eventually, after 3 tries with Sanford's opening, they have found him. And Echo, with all of the resources they have so many ways to engage RRQ Hoshi. it looked really bleak for the Indonesian squad. They had to pull everything just to survive there.
Now, I mean, at that point, it looked grim. They held on, but at what cost? Again, back to the question, is this Irithyll the weak link? And was there a better option here for a gold lane or a marksman pick? Because so far, it really has not been working out for RRQ.
I think regardless, the hardest part about this is that feathered airstrike coming in from Sanji. Like, it deals way too much damage. And unfortunately for Irithyll, yes, you can be fast, go quick, or go home. But in this particular case, walking up is way too dangerous. And Yaoi, I mean, what can you say? He just lands the kicks each time. He literally says, just hit it. And he's like, okay, sure.
How did he get his hands on the Cho again, right? I mean, that's another big question because you talked about it. One feathered airstrike takes Skylar to basically half health, if not 1/4 at this point. So we're jumping back into the game here. Massive lead for Echo. Still looking to close this series out here. RRQ trying to hold on to keep this series going to Game 5, but at this point, it's looking bleak. Anything that sticks out here, Wolf, in terms of the items and how they can help here for RRQ?
I think the lack of the blade armor on Karina, they only have it on Vin. I think they need to against the Claw. That's the natural way to kind of counter it. While on the side of Echo, you have 2 blade armors on 2 frontliners, Karchis and Yaoi. What this does is to really nullify Skylar even more. He's already scared about like the damage output and the initiations coming out from Echo, but even his unstoppable, uncontrollable damage that you take out from the Irithyll is going to be a threat.
I think the biggest way they stay in this game is have another moment where they somehow get the Lord here.
Benny's there.
With the truncheon, he's managed to survive for a little bit longer, allowing Sanford to actually turn this around onto Vin's head. They find the trade, it's not worth it, but Yaoi still has the way of the dragon. They can do something with this called TZ in the middle of the fight. He's absorbing damage, and now pinning R7 against the wall. He's trying to get on out of there, and immediately, this might have just turned.
They know where Benny is.
Oh, do they know where Benny is? No, he's going to recall out of there. He's going to be fine, but this buys a little bit more time for RRQ and Echo. They see what's going on. Now, because of the recalls, they're threatening the Lord. They've checked the brushes. They know nobody is there, and even Clay making sure that there is no angle for Yaoi to get on in.
Look at Benny.
It's going to come down to a 50-50 here. Albert versus Carl Teasy. No, they reset it. Sanford is threatening Clay. Whoa, okay, yo, Clay, you're getting too low. He's about to die, and Sanford flickers forward as the rest of the team looks to push on forward.
Oh, they're going to get pushed out of the base here. You saw Benny Cutie also pushing that mid lane. They have to respond, and this could, because of those decisions and Clay being down, Echo now in a position to take the Lord.
Way of the Dragon already onto R7, can split, saving him. No, the feathered airstrike from Sanji, able to take him out. Sanford is on fire. Albert locked against the wall. Occult Altar already popped. They're resetting the Lord just against the middle of this fight. Skylar, he's trying his best to dish out damage, but those blade armors are making a difference, and the Queen's Call isn't enough, and Sanford gets his ult again. Clay has to get on out of there. Ghostbusters ain't enough, and Sanford is going to slowly make his way forward. He takes on one, and now the end is nigh. Albert is still on the run. Can they do anything about this? With so many minions on their side. Yaoi is already down. Pulling on already onto Benny Cutie, but Benny has done it. Wow. A game to make history. Once again, the Filipino dynasty goes on. The grand finals has been set. Echo loud, Echo proud. GG, well played.
The storm cannot be contained in this series, and a force to be reckoned with here. This Echo squad, definitely Echo loud, Echo proud. And it's a sad day for the fans of RRQ in Indonesia, as unfortunately they won't make it to the grand final here in M4.
Let me teach you a word that doesn't exist once again. Endable.
Endable.
It's not in the dictionary, but at least in Echo's vocabulary there is. They knew the call. There were so minions out there, ushered by Benny Cutie. And when RRQ looked at that, you're gonna have to give it to Clay. He defended that one with Ghost Bursters, but in the end, Benny Cutie found the opening. He went out with the BMI, got back in with the help of Carl TZ. And the last HP of the minion allowed them to push that one back, and Echo goes to the finals because of that.
Now, they say their final farewells. That is RRQ, but you have your second grand finalist making their way down the stage. It's Echo from the Philippines.
The kingdom has fallen, Echo securing the last grand final slot. And again, a rematch back from the MPL Philippines Season 10. It's going to be the defending world champions, Blacklist International, versus Echo.
Even when you look at that last match, RRQ didn't have the right to kind of be strong even in the latter portions of the game. We said that they had to end it by 10 minutes. We said that their power spike is gonna be just dawning afterwards. But RRQ Hoshi fought valiantly. It's just that in the end, Echo's better draft in the late game and better decisioning just was so good. And Sansan, even when they're like the rookies in here, they're very young. They are performing as if they're veterans here.
It's not like every game that Echo plays, it's not one player that carries that game, right? Yes, there might be the MVP for, you know, whoever on that squad. Lastly, it was Sanford, but now you have this game where Sanji popped off and then Sanford picking up again throughout the game. That's the biggest problem. Even for the defending champions, Blacklist International, they know this. They've had a taste of this even yesterday. And you remember how dominating a game that Echo won against them. So now, there's a lot of things here to learn, but that's going to be it for us here on the caster desk. Again, Naisu, Gideon, and Wolf. Analysts, take it away.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the analyst stand. With me, Miracle and Leo. Miracle, how you feel right now?
Surprisingly, I mean, the game was amazing, right? So, sure, obviously a bit sad that RRQ lost, but hey, that was insane, and we still get to see the best against the best, and right now, it's the facto. Philippines is still number one.
For a long time, RRQ in that game seemed like that was going to take us to Game 5. I mean, break it down for us, Leo. Let's first start with the draft. What happened in the draft there with RRQ and Echo?
It's fair to say that RRQ had a solid plan, right? First, picking that glue made sure that Sanford had a lot to think about. It was clearly going into the hands of R7. But the response of the Farsa X, it doesn't even matter what you put into the other pick, made this Game 4 victory all the more clear because it went into the hands of Sanji. Every single time he went in with a flicker or a combo to get that stun off of her passive, that bought so much time and space for Echo for the rest of them, specifically Benny Curie, to own the lane and then own, what, a quarter of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Towards the late game, mid to late game, Win was landing every hook, you know? But there just wasn't enough firepower from the entire set of RRQ to finish the job. And because they weren't able to finish the job fast enough, you know, the backup came and then the rest is history. So let's take a look at the item here. You can see Skylar, which is a full build. It seems like he just wasn't able to peel through all the front line from Echo.
The damage just was not enough, right? Usually when you go for a Franco, you want some burst to be behind it so that you can actually take people down. It's not just a random hook out of nowhere. Here, you can really see that RRQ were struggling in the damage department. Clay not dealing enough damage as a Faramis. Again, the glue is more of a distraction, and Skylar needs to get to the late game. We did see him finally deal damage in the later stage of the game, but at that point, it's a bit too late. So many frontliners from Echo, and I need to talk about this matchup, right? Because we were talking about it when it was picked in the draft. Glue versus the Lapu Lapu. Now, maybe, sure, Glue's gonna have a little bit more pressure when it comes to wave control and wave clear. But thing is, they pick up the Farsa, which is much more active on the map early on with the Wings by Wings compared to the Faramis. And it's also an X factor because Echo usually, they play around the gold lane, they play around Benny. This game, they said, no, we're going to the XP lane, we're gonna make R7 a non-factor, and they succeeded.
It's more of a byproduct how Benny Curie was so successful in this game. He's both the rich guy and the forgotten one. And I think you can add to those total assists damage to minions and turrets. The fact that throughout all this time that RRQ was fighting 4 members of Echo, I think it happened in a base push, wherein Benny Curie wasn't even part of the fight. He was in the top lane just shooting up objectives. And that's the story of this game, essentially. I'm partly believing the fact that Sanford and Sanji are worth 3.5 heroes on the map.